mic. What's the guy's name? What's my boy name?
Who?
Greensboro, North Carolina, man. Jesse Jackson. Yo, what's going on, Gainesville? Got a real treat today on the Jerk Jerkin Show right here on WMBT 90.1 FM The Beat. You probably heard him. If you know anything about local theater, you probably heard of this guy, man. I'd say a local trailblazer. Artist is one way to describe him, but he goes by many other different things. Mr. E. Stanley Richardson is in the building, y'all. What's going on, man? Can you say what's up to the people, please?
What's going on? Thank you for having me here. But yeah, I've been called all kinds of things.
To your face?
To my face.
Probably behind your back, I think, man. Anyway, man, I appreciate you coming through, man. Having you here, it kind of makes me feel like I'm talking to myself in the future. You know what I mean? So I got a lot of questions for you, man.
Like, go ahead, man.
Like I just told you off the air, you done some things I want to do.
I love to talk. If I can just find somebody to pay me for just talking,
I'm gonna give you a little bit of space to talk. I'm gonna talk most of the time, but I'm gonna give
how much time we got?
I'm playing with you.
How much time we got?
We got about an hour, man.
Okay.
So we got about 2 hours, but I'm gonna give you an hour. How about that? Is that cool? All right, man. Let's get right to it, though. I want to kind of start because you do a lot of different things, man. You've written books. You've traveled and you've studied. You do poetry. I can go on and on. You act. I know I'm leaving a lot of stuff out. I want to know from the beginning, from when you were just a little twinkle in your dad's eye before that, and right after that. Where does all this come from? What was first? What was your first journey as far as artistic expression?
You just messed me up. I had no idea I was doing all that stuff.
Oh yeah, you gonna do all that? Where did this come from? Were you in your room writing plays? Where did this?
I can't really tell you where it comes from. If I have one thing to tell young people,
yes sir,
about their journey is to find your authentic self and be that, whatever that is.
Well, let me just ask you in a chronological sense. Then, what was first? Like, what was your first artistic expression when you fell in love with this is what I got to do?
My first artistic expression was in 1962 when I exited my mother's womb and I cried. That was the first expression.
That's really good. All right, so hey, let's get started then. So let's start with let's jump right into your book. Is that cool? Because
but really, the book is cool. But really, I can't really tell you. I've always loved to write. I had no idea I was gonna be on this journey.
Right.
It all came to maybe I guess some type of divine revelation.
Right.
When I met my wife.
Okay.
She had something to do with it because I always used to write.
Right.
But I hid it up under the bed.
Okay.
And when I think back about acting, I was always an actor. My father loved movies. We watched movies together, and I would go in the room and I would imitate the characters.
Nice.
So I would remember whole lines from movies. So
you didn't know at the time you actually developed yourself as an artist, as an actor.
But from a bio, I was born in St. Pete. Just didn't live there. My mother just happened to be down there when she gave birth, and I was raised and lived in a lodge.
Okay.
Played football, basketball, sports. Went to UF on an athletic scholarship to play football.
Right, education is pretty important to you. I've seen from your.
Well, I come from a background of
educators.
My mother and all of her sisters taught school.
Right.
My father was taught school for a short time.
Wow.
And he was one of those guys that I would always use, I guess, proper English.
Right.
If he didn't know a word. His dictionary, look it up.
Yeah.
Use it in a sentence.
That's all right.
But now we can Google everything. So it's no excuse now.
I don't know how good they got it.
It's no excuse. Google.
Cool. You're getting some love over here from Miss Faye Williams over here. But so, okay, cool. So you've always had that fire inside of you that, as far as artistic expression goes, and you say it was kind of covert. So I guess you say meeting your wife, that's where you kind of first started to, because you're not a...
Well, she kind of nudged me to share my work.
Well, what I'm getting at is you're not covert guy, man. I mean, you a published author. I see a lot of your stuff.
Well, I didn't publish until after I met her.
Ah, okay.
You know, and she gave me she
right.
allowed me basically to be me.
That's a blessing.
She allowed me. Yes, I mean, I'm telling everybody out there, man.
We
young people, the importance of your helpmate, your spouse. And I was just thinking about this today. Thinking about some of my children, and wanting them to understand that it's all good if you meet someone and you know and your first love in high school or whatever, and then you end up marrying that person,
right.
and you live happily ever after. But also that person you are when you're 18, 19, 20, 25, you may or may not know who you are yourself, and you may not be that person in 10 years.
Huh.
You know,
right.
You may not be that person in 10 years. So when you get married or you decide to have a life partner or whatever, that's serious.
Right.
A lot of times we don't really take it. You know, we in love.
Well, we really put an emphasis on family and unity up here at WVT. So I mean, I just love to see that, the iteration and the just the praise that you.
Yeah, you know that I always whenever I'm talking to anybody or I'm being interviewed or whatever, I always give my daddy praise.
All right.
I give him his props because it's
right.
you always hear that. You know, daddy wasn't there. Daddy was gone.
Right.
That's
right.
BS.
Right.
You know, my daddy was. You know, and I know a lot of other families who had their father there. You know, my mama. You know, she's the rock. Right. But mom was always. You always hear about mom. Mm-hmm. You know, I used to think when I was a kid that you couldn't be famous unless you didn't have no daddy.
Wow. Because
every time I heard somebody on TV, it was all about they didn't have no daddy and their mom.
That's amazing.
No shit. No jive. You may have to censor me a little bit on this one, you know.
You're fine, man. All right, let's get right to it. I want to ask you, this is what I meant to ask you earlier before I start mentioning your book. All the different ways you express yourself artistically, what would you say? I like to put it the way I heard it on TV the other day. If you could put it on a hat, if you could put a message on a hat, what would you say your overall message is? What you trying to get? What's the message you trying to get to the people?
I got it on my shirt.
Art speaks.
Art speaks.
Describe that to me.
Well, Art speaks. Well, Art speaks is an organization I founded.
Okay. Let's talk about that right now.
A few years. I think we're going on our 6th year.
Right.
Basically, it's a way to join art and activism. And it's the way to give, but it's basically through poetry. But we embrace all types of artistic expression.
Well, I watched one of your videos when you at the City Hall with the young man with the African drum.
Oh, that was a guy.
So y'all just met each other.
I just met him. I was invited to speak. It was the inauguration. They formed an inauguration in Gainesville to counter the inauguration that was going on in D.C. at the time. When your president was being inaugurated and everything.
My best friend, right?
Right. They had counter demonstrations all over the country, and they had one here in Gainesville.
Okay.
And I was invited.
It was like a counter protest. I remember.
Dr. Paul Ortiz invited me. I think to speak, and it was the young man who what's his name? He published a book. Ibram Kinde. I may be messing his name.
Shout out to you. I'm sure he'll appreciate the shout out.
Yeah, but he was the keynote, and then I went after him, and I did a poem that I wrote some years back.
Right.
Yeah, so
let me ask you about that real quick. I hate to be jumping all over the place, but there's so many things I want to ask you. Where does poetry come from, man?
Poetry, I can't explain.
You can't pinpoint it?
I can't explain where it comes from. Basically, it's a part of me.
Right.
You know, it's nothing that I force or think about. It's just when it flows, it flows. I just can't turn it on and off.
Right.
It's almost like it's coming from a divine source,
so
to speak. So I just can't sit down and just. I mean, I could, but probably wouldn't be any good. But there are those times when it flows,
right?
And when it flows, you go with it, and then you can't force it.
Yeah, let them use you, man.
Right? That's what it is. So basically, that's where my poetry comes from. I'm not sure about anybody else's, but and I always tell people that my muse highs inside of Coltrane's horn. So basically, I always write to jazz.
All right. So I want to talk about that a little bit. You were just mentioning the young man who was playing the drums while you did your poetry.
I can't remember his name, but we just happened to meet. He was with Muhammad, who does African drumming,
Nice.
and they did some African drumming at the event, and I kind of like, hey man, would you? I got this piece, and it's about African drum beats, and so he said sure. So we kind of like did some impromptu.
Well, that's what I want to talk about right there, the African drum, the significance of it, the creation of jazz from and that correlation with the African drum, and even if you could, can you show the way that it's even relevant in the way hip hop derived from this thing?
Well, I write a lot about throughout my poetry. You will always pretty regularly see reference or mentions of the African drum,
right,
and exquisite rhythm.
Okay.
It's all scattered throughout stuff I write. The village, the African drum, the exquisite rhythm. I just think, and that's one of the reasons why how this book came to be. It kind of evolved through a lot of different areas. One of the things is how significant music, rhythm and music is to African culture.
Right.
There's a African proverb that says there is no magic more powerful than music.
Wow.
And basically,
that's profound.
I talk a lot about what happens to organic black cultural expression in a colonial environment. And
break that down for me.
Well, basically, I'm asking people to critically think about what they're listening to, what they're seeing, what they're listening to, and why they're seeing it and why they're hearing it.
Okay.
But basically, there's a professor. His name is Jared Ball. He's a professor at Morgan State University.
Okay.
He has a series called "I Mix What I Like." He has a book called I think by the same name. He talks a lot about this. But basically, art and artistic expression and social justice movements and revolutions, etc., go hand in hand.
Okay.
The revolution or the movement is only as strong or as powerful as the art form accompanying it.
Okay.
If I grew up, I was born in '62. I grew up with the civil rights movement all around me. I was young, but I remember all of the protests. The black and white TV. I remember my mother and my aunts and uncles and stuff, and people crying when King was shot and when Kennedy was shot. And I also remember the music.
Okay.
I also remember the music. And basically, what happens, what I'm trying to get whoever will listen to understand and to critically think about black culture and especially artistic expression is, in a colonial environment, the oppressor understands that the oppressed will always begin to create art that speaks directly to their oppression. If left unchecked, they will always begin to create art that speaks directly to their oppression. And what happens is some little kid right now in somewhere in some ghetto or some high-rise, somewhere, in his basement or in his brother's room, creating something. Mm-hmm. Just like hip-hop, was created by a melting pot of black folks in the Bronx. Yeah. When what that's what they say, but I think it was coming before that, like with black poets and that kind of thing. Gil Scott-Heron, all those guys, they were hip hop artists.
One thing I point out all the time is that what you're talking about in the park, in the Bronx. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but Kool Herc was actually a dance hall reggae artist from Jamaica.
Yeah, they're all from the whole diaspora. From the whole diaspora.
Exactly.
From the whole diaspora.
I'm sorry, you carry on.
But what happens is, whenever, if you remember all the, I mean, you got to probably go back and look at some archives or history tapes and stuff. But I can remember some of it because I'm saying,
Yes,
the '70s and stuff,
Uh-huh.
and Marvin Gaye, what's going on, and all these other protest songs, that people were marching, and it was like, it was like it was going to come to a head. And what happens is, it's people, the oppressor, the status quo.
Understood.
Okay, when we create something that speaks to our oppression or testifies for our people,
Mm-hmm.
or testifies for the poor or the disenfranchised or the marginalized, whether in any kind of artistic way, whether it be a play or music, but primarily what I'm talking about is music, because
Mm-hmm.
music is everywhere.
Right.
What happens is it's not sought out to be destroyed. It's sought out to be fixed in a colonial form. So what I'm saying is, what you hear on the radio and over corporate media constantly is not hip hop, but an imposter.
Okay, I understand.
Okay, they suppress organic forms of expression, and they basically it's a Frankenstein monster.
Right.
They give you something that looks like it sounds like it, but it's been tweaked. So now, instead of testifying for you, it testifies against you.
I can see. I can definitely see that happening in a lot of instances.
So that's why basically you hear all the negative, toxic lyrics and images,
Mm-hmm.
because they need an image of a toxic image of us.
Right.
I mean, if you go back to look at movies when they made The Birth of a Nation or Cocaine Madness.
No. Reefer Madness.
Yeah, all those movies, and they had a cocaine made black men go out and rape white women and all. Just that they're always gonna have a negative image.
Well, let me ask you this: What do you say?
Of us.
What do you say to the school of thought of it's art imitating life, and it just reflecting upon the stories that
I think it's bullshit.
Well, let's hold up on the 4 letter word.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. But
well, I've been watching TV.
Yeah, tell me why.
You know what I'm saying? I was watching. And let's go back to. I was watching the NBA. I think it was the Western Conference Finals with my grandson, and the commercial came on, and it was about. Anyway, they said the B word just like that.
Right.
Some bad.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I'm reflecting what I see on TV.
Right. Oh no.
I can't help it.
That's.
See, it's affected me too.
That's your answer. That's what you're saying. I'm like,
well, no, I just think because I understand when you use something in context. You can show me a negative. You can show me an image of say drugs or use a 4-letter word for. I don't believe in bad words personally. I just think all words are beautiful.
Well, the FCC does.
Yeah, I understand.
But I feel you though. I understand.
But
you're an artist, man.
You can show. You can't tell me. I mean, it's like it's a competition to see how many times you can kill N-word, sell drugs. See, I can't even say it. But they play on the radio.
Right.
I mean, it's just every negative connotation, every negative image that you can imagine is packed into this music, and our kids are singing it. So if anybody thinks nothing's wrong with that, it's just like when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. When I was a kid, I watched Tarzan.
Right.
Then after Tarzan went off, we had woods by our house, and there was a swamp right near us, with pond and everything. When we went, me and my friends went out there and swung on vines and hollered like like Tarzan.
Right.
You know, but I didn't know that.
You was imitating Arthur.
I didn't know that I was imitating. I won't call it art. I was imitating something.
Right.
But I didn't know.
Nice.
I didn't know that this was like, you know, white man in Africa swinging on no vine. You know, the brother's been there for years, and he come over there.
Okay.
You know that, but it seemed real to me. It wasn't until I got older.
Understood.
And I was a kid. Okay. So these children right now on a mass, we've never seen anybody like this before. A mass level, imitating what they see, mimicking what they see and hear, and then being bombarded with it constantly.
Right.
And unless they have someone to counteract that, or to let them know, or in their ear, or parent or uncle or somebody in the village to take them under their wing and show them and let them know what's being done to them, because it's warfare. Yeah. I mean, these people don't spend billions of dollars on commercials just because they just want to throw away money, because it has an effect, whether you want to believe it or not. Okay. It has an effect on your subconscious, on the way, especially a young child. You know, you have, you know, when I was growing up, we had what you call, you know, a spirit of excellence. You know, we did everything, people did everything excellent. You know, I grew up, my mother telling me about stories about her interacting with Mary McLeod Bethune.
Nice.
You know, those are my stories. You know, so I always aspired to be like, you did stuff. I mean, you may want to call it uppity or whatever you want to call it, but you carried yourself in a certain way, and you did everything you did. And I don't care if it was mowing the yard. You did it with excellence.
Right.
You know, and now you have young people who don't aspire to that excellence. Matter of fact, you have. I was talking to some kids the other day, when they think in their mind they're gravitating toward thug culture, because it's being portrayed as being cool. That's all they see on TV, on commercials, in the radio, whatever they listen to in the videos with the hip hop music. That's all they see. So now they think it's cool to be a thug, and aspiring to education or aspiring for excellence is acting white. You know, because they're kids who don't want to let them other kids know they're excelling well in school, because they think that's acting white.
I've heard about that. What do you think? I want a kind of spit question. What do you think is where's the responsibility lie? Is it on the artist to counteract this? Is it on society? Is it on the family?
It's on all of us. But I mean, the first thing is to understand what's being done to you. If you don't know, you're getting, if somebody is poisoning you, you know, you're gonna keep eating the food. But if somebody say, hey, look, don't eat that, man, it's poison, then you'll say, oh, okay. And just like I watched the movie years ago. I watched the movie Malcolm X. And I remember Elijah Muhammad, you know, in the movie with Denzel, telling Malcolm that the people are thirsty. The people are thirsty. Yeah. And if you give them dirty water, they'll drink dirty water because they're thirsty.
I remember that. We did it with the cups.
Right.
Okay,
if you give them a choice of drinking clean water, dirty water, they'll choose the clean water. So right now, people are thirsty. People are thirsty. Yeah. And I'm not sure what the remedy is. Basically, the more I can, I mean, to me, it's about survival. Right. To me, it's about young minds and young people and children. Because I mean, I remember Carol and I every year in Alachua, there's African American read-in. Okay. And during Black History Month. And matter of fact, I hadn't published this book yet. I had just had some transcripts and stuff, and I was reading. They always invite me to read it and everything. So we were down there at the library, a local library in Alachua, and had quite a few kids down there with their parents and stuff. And I had these horn rim glasses on. Nice. And after I finished reading and stuff, and there were some old people down there. There's a little kid, and it was the coolest thing that probably anybody has said to me in a while. He said, "Are those Malcolm X glasses?" Oh man! And I'm like, wow. So we leave there. I'm hungry. I go down to the local little grocery store to get me a little dinner. And when I get there, I'm in a parking lot, and I hear this music blasting. And I can't tell you the song, but it's, I mean, the lyrics were like, you know, it was like
Right.
It was, man, it was.
I get the picture.
You know what I'm saying? So I had to wait till the young lady got in the car. But behind me, when I looked behind me and turned around, was a little boy and a little girl.
Yeah.
So when I backed up, I looked around, I'm like, oh, and there was a little boy and a little girl, and they were like dancing and trying their best to sing along with the song. And that was like, you know,
it's heartbreaking to you. Huh?
Blew me away. I'm like, okay, these kids, I mean, where are they going to be in, you know, in 10 years from now? What's going to happen to them? I mean, are they going to have anybody to really mentor them or show them the way? Because, I mean, that's toxic. That is...
Where did this, I don't want to say division, but we can agree that it wasn't always like that, right?
Well, I mean, it's...
So when did it start?
Well, it's always been that way. If we go back to jazz, jazz was the same way. You can also go back to where there's a point in time a little while ago where jazz was Kenny G. Okay, and the people who actually revolutionized jazz didn't even like the term jazz. They called it social music.
Yeah.
The other people called it jazz.
Okay.
And what happened was there was a time in history where all the jazz artists had to start going overseas to make a living.
I tell people that all the time.
To make a living. Just like right now, there's some great music being produced, some great lyrical genius music being produced, hip hop being produced, but you're not going to hear it unless you go looking for it,
right? Because
they don't want that music played. They don't want you to talk about no revolution and positive things. They don't want the people to be uplifted,
right? So
they're going to suppress that. You know, there was a guy that his name is Carvin Haggins, I think it is. He's a Grammy Award-winning producer. And when he was younger, he's a little older now, and he has kids. So he went, long story short, he went to the studio to produce some music. And this is when I really first heard about this years back. And basically, they wouldn't produce the music because it didn't have enough vulgarity and it didn't have enough, you know, B and H's in it and N words in it and dope selling and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So and I heard about what they call lyric boards because the people who we don't really own. You know, it's cool that we got this little radio station here and stations like that. But for us, they're buying up. Used to be a whole lot of black stations when I was coming up, man. I mean, we used to tune in all over. Me and my brothers and stuff would tune in and get out of Tennessee and Macon, Georgia, all these little black stations and stuff. But now, since they had that
James Brown station,
that Mass Media Act and everything, I can't think of when it was, but it allowed all those large companies to buy up all of the smaller radio stations. Right. And now, basically, what you hear on any corporate station all across everywhere is you're going to hear the same thing on any station you listen to. It's going to be like the top 100. They're going to be playing over and over and over and over and over again. Okay. But basically, they won't really the Sonys and the Universals and everything who own all of this, the mass media apparatus, who picks and chooses what to play and how they're going to disseminate it. You know, that's what the problem is. And basically, people want to these young guys who aspire for trinkets, pretty much. You know, they're getting them trinkets and everything to produce this music, and they're getting paid for it and getting what they call, I guess, fame and fortune or whatever. But that doesn't excuse it. You know, you can't aid in your own oppression, and basically they're being used. You know, when I see something in the news, was it last week? This Drake and Pusha T, basically getting paid for playing the dozens. You know, two black men just talking derogatory toward one another. Right. Basically, that's what it was. You know, they playing a dozen. You know, on a national, world level.
Mm-hmm. All right, got a few questions. Hip hop music, period. I guess what I really want to ask is, with artists with other negative connotations, negative messages in their work, as far as in different cultures and different genres. So, who comes to mind is somebody like Martin Scorsese and the types of movies that he makes, and the murder and all that different type of thing. Is it different because it's a movie, or do the hip hop artists bear more of a responsibility because they actually come from the culture?
Well, back to my original statement. There is no magic more powerful than music.
Okay.
You see, I mean, you could look at Quentin Tarantino and stuff, and some of his crazy, violent, violent stuff. You know what I'm saying? But you got to go to the movie. Mm-hmm. And buy a ticket to see it, or wait for it to come out. It's not ubiquitous like music is.
Exactly.
And this is one thing that really it was basically a divine revelation for me, and got me pretty much on this path and kept me on it. A couple of years ago, I had the good fortune of being involved in a residency program called There Is a Field with a organization called Donkey Saddle Project.
Okay.
And basically, I got a phone call from some people in New York who had been to an Art Speaks event that I did. They were familiar with my poetry and stuff, and they wanted to know if I would be interested in this residency program. And basically what it was a program that they were showing the correlation and showing the similarities between what's going on in the Middle East and Israel and with the Palestinian people, mm-hmm. and what was happening here in the U.S.
Wow.
with black and brown citizens here, mm-hmm. And that was when Black Lives Matter was in the news and gaining momentum and stuff, and basically. This lady, she had got a grant or something, and she wrote this play called There Is a Field. And it's based on a young Palestinian man, I think he was around like 15, 16, 17, I can't really remember. His name was Asil.
Okay.
And he was shot, he was peacefully protesting, and he was shot by the Israeli police.
Wow. And
it was about his family, it's about his murder, so to speak, and his family seeking justice. Just like you would have Trayvon's mother, mm-hmm. or Tamir Rice.
Right,
every time I go to a park, man, with my little kid, with my grandkids, I think about Tamir Rice.
Right.
I mean, how can you? I'm getting up the thing, but how can you pull up on? How can you pull up? I mean, on a child, and just within seconds, just shoot him.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a bullhorn. You can park across the street and say, "Hey, you!
Yeah.
Hey!"
Well, the lady that called 911 told him it looks like a toy.
Whatever.
And they still killed him.
I'm saying, mm-hmm. But you don't. They rolled up right up on him and bam! And then nobody. I mean, come on.
Right, I agree with you 100%. My son is 13 and he's 6'1", so I think about it. I think about it a lot. Trust me.
Yeah, man. They He didn't look like he was 9. Right. He looked like a grown man.
Right. Well.
Anyway.
Right. We always look a lot bigger and scarier.
Yeah, scarier and stuff. But anyway, this happened with the Asil in Palestine. So we did the play and everything, and we did the workshop, and then on the last day we were doing the play, and right before the play we get a phone call, text message. I can't remember what it was. A phone call from Asil's brother. His name was Barah, from Palestine.
Nice.
Right? Okay. Throughout this conversation we had with him, basically what he said to me was, and I never really thought about this before. And this is coming from someone I don't know. He's someone who's in Palestine struggling against oppression, trying to gain their freedom. Mm-hmm. Basically, what he said was, oppressed people all over the world, everywhere, all over the world, mm-hmm. look to Black Americans
They do.
as a blueprint for their freedom.
That's a fact.
And I'm like, damn.
Yeah, no, that's a fact.
And that's why you have our images being distorted like they are, and then streamed all over these altered images of us, streamed all over the world, because they have to create a negative image of us, because the people who are being oppressed right now look to us as having a blueprint to gain their freedom.
Well, I've heard that, and I truly believe that.
I mean, it was like
the revelation. The revelation.
To me, I'm like, damn.
Well, I want to ask. We've kind of discussed a lot of the things that I wanted to ask you already.
Man, you better put a harness on me, man. I'll be all over the place.
But I want to talk to you about more about the book and not what compels you, because I think you already answered that. But just can you talk about how the book can combat a lot of the issues that you see with the current state of hip hop?
Well, the book is. I write everything I write turns into poetry, man. I mean, if I start writing a story, it's going to turn into a poem. I was invited to do a keynote, and my wife told me after the keynote, all I did was do poetry.
That's hilarious.
So this book is a collection, but it's written like a story. The name of the book is Hip Hop is Dead, Long Live Hip Hop, The Birth, Death, and Resurrection of Hip Hop Activism.
Real quick, tell people how to access.
Just go to Amazon.
Okay.
You can get it on Amazon. Just go to Amazon.com. Hip Hop is Dead, Long Live Hip Hop, The Birth, Death, and Resurrection of Hip Hop Activism.
Right.
It'll pop up.
I want to know why you. That's what I'm really trying to ask. Why did you choose that title? Because of course you know you get some reactions from that.
The whole entire title.
Right. Well, yeah. Both parts. Break it down.
Well, basically, you know, the king is dead. Long live the king. Whenever the king dies or the queen dies, they're gonna replace the dead king with the new king.
Okay.
So the king is dead. Long live the king.
Understood.
Okay. Hip hop is dead. Long live hip hop. The new hip hop comes about in the resurrection.
Understood.
So basically, the book chronicles hip hop from the birth, right, from its beginning, how wonderful and positive hip hop was, and how strong and powerful it was, and in this book there are different ways that hip hop came to be. You know, the ancestors conjured them up, and basically hip hop is. I didn't realize I was being hip hop is a guy. It's always pretty much in this book. So all the feminists out there, you know, I'm sorry, but hey. But basically, his death, and that basically his birth, and basically hip hop. There's a poem in here called "Looking for Hip Hop in the Backdrop of Gentrification."
Give me a good line from that one, real quick.
That's a pretty long poem. I'm not sure.
What's your favorite part? What's the most effective part?
Basically,
I didn't mean to put you on the spot, man. My bad.
Do I have to do that right now?
No.
Okay,
We can circle back to that.
I'll tell you what. Let me go a real quick one. This is called "We Hip Hop." This is one of the poems at the beginning of the book. It's called "We Hip Hop."
Okay.
We hopscotch. We double dutch. We hide and go seek. We squeeze light for drips of color. We paint concrete canvas. We mural metal rail cars. We mark our territory, chalk on sidewalk. We sing, we dance, we romance. We laugh, we cry, we triumph. We defy. We love, we hate. We debate. Who's the baddest?
Okay.
The coolest? What's fly? We scratch and battle, we spin on our head. We know there's always more to be said, so we spit fire into life. We cultivate sound. We harvest rhythm. We crave art safari. We capture elusive movement. We tame wild words. We interpret our world in melody, imagery, and song. We live in language, thick, dense, jungle, and we don't stop. We never stop. We never stop. We never stop.
Nice.
We hip hop.
Okay. I like that, man. I like that a lot. So that. I guess I want to ask, what was the inspiration there?
The inspiration for that one, I was invited. I was invited to do to take part in a music video, a hip hop music video.
Okay, cool.
And to do some to say some things, something. Somebody saw me somewhere and liked my stuff and wanted me to be a part of his music video.
Okay.
And basically it had it basically had a lot of aspects of hip hop, and basically I was thinking about all the different elements of hip hop, from the graffiti to the break dancing, and also thinking about hip hop as back when I was a kid, and how we played hide and go seek and played hopscotch and jump rope and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I heard the first lines.
So break dancing and graffiti and art and everything, it all came in that poem, basically. Right. But yeah, man, this book, I think, is young people will love this. It's not a very hard read. It's fun to read. There's some serious parts to it. One of my favorite poems is The Birth of Funk and The Birth of Jazz and Willie Green's Blues. Those are really nice. There's one called Ancestral Swag that I like.
Nice.
There's one
I like that, Ancestral Swag.
Hip Hop Runs Out of Time. There's Hip Hop Reflections by Miss Ida Mae Strong after hip hop dies. Nice. There's one called Thug Life. This really short. It's a tribute to Tupac. Tupac is probably my only really rap I ever really got into at that time.
Okay.
And if someone was to ask me what was my favorite line of all time in hip hop, it would be, "Come with me, run quick, see what you have here now. Do you wanna ride or die? Da 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 da."
Okay.
I think that's universal. I think it's spiritual. I think it's timeless. Come with me, Hail Mary, run quick, see what do we have here now. Now is all the time. Do you want to ride or die? And I take that to a spiritual level.
I like
pretty
that.
much.
I like
you know what I mean?
I just knew you was gonna hit me with the Dear Mama quote, but that was
no. That's not it.
I like that one.
That's my all-time
Black Queen crack.
My all-time favorite, man. That's my all-time favorite. But I got one here. I hope you let me read it, man. It's called. Let me find where it is. I had it marked, but I wrote this because it actually happened.
Which one is this?
It's called Jacked Up.
Okay.
And it's kind of short. It's called Jacked Up, and basically most of my writers probably is on some type of a personal level, something I observed or heard. Most of these voices are voices that I grew up with from my village and everything. But this was an actual incident that I observed, in my growing up.
Okay.
Well, not I was grown.
Right.
This actually happened. I was watching the kids one day, and I'll tell you about it after I read it, and you can tell me what it's about.
Okay.
It's called Jacked Up.
Okay. Come on in.
I remember the day. Something wasn't right. Something just wasn't quite right. It was too fast. It was much too fast and heavy. It sounded like jacked up lullabies inquiring about springtime hype. Overweight bass sprinting toward summer mischief. Overburdened with iron rock and way too much roll. Beefed up on steroid. Amped up on amphetamine. Melody fleeing from crime scene. You know what I mean. Something just wasn't quite right with the music. Wide-eyed children waiting on the curb. It's 4:30. Why isn't he stopping? Hey, why isn't he stopping? You could barely see the logo. Bright colored ice cream cones painted on the side. It was all a milky blur. A chorus of children screaming, "The ice cream man! The ice cream man! The ice cream man!" The vanilla ice cream man sold his ice cream van to the frozen chocolate bar boy with a golden grin and a lazy eye for a quick high.
Oh.
Water began to pour from another crack in the sky, messing up the whole afternoon. Would the rain wash away the children's pain? Parents tried their best to explain why the ice cream man didn't stop. So they blamed it all on hip-hop.
Okay. So these kids wanted some ice cream, and Big Worm done bought the ice cream truck, and you witnessed this.
I'm listening to this. You had the ice cream man music plays, right? This music was like, and the ice cream van was hauling. I mean, it was speed, man, down the road, right? And those kids were like, hey.
That's amazing.
So we found out later that, that the guy has, drugs, and it has an effect on everybody in the community.
Oh, yeah.
Even the little kids. And they're waiting for the ice cream truck, the ice cream man to stop. And he done sold ice cream. He done traded ice cream.
Sheesh. That's amazing. You witnessed this.
Yeah, man.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's where that poem came from.
All right, hey, I like that. And then that shows your quick turnaround there.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this, man. But it basically is that hip hop was actually a person, and they're looking for hip hop. Hip hop was a superhero. Hip hop saves the world. Hip hop is dead. There's some old men looking for hip hop, and there's a whole conversation that takes place under the tree. With these old men, and one man is trying to explain to the other guy that hip hop has a twin brother. And the reason why they got their name because they were joined at the hip when they were born, and they were separated at birth. That's why they hop when they walk.
Right.
So
it's
really it's all these stories in it, and basically the birth, death, and when hip hop is resurrected, he's resurrected stronger and divine, and full of righteous sway.
I definitely want.
I got your copy here, man.
Well, yeah, but I want to make sure that people know exactly how to access. You say me on Amazon again?
Amazon. Just go to Amazon. Hip Hop is Dead. You type that in, it'll come up. Long Live Hip Hop, it'll come up.
The
Birth, Death, and Resurrection of Hip Hop Activism, it'll come up.
Nice.
Type my name, Stanley Richardson, it'll come up.
Nice.
So if you want it, there's no excuse.
Cool. And you got a couple of social media handles out there you want to.
Just on Facebook, man. I got my little girl, one of my kids, trying to show me how to navigate social media and Instagram and all that. They would spend all last week with me trying to show me how to promote myself on Instagram.
That's so good, man.
So
hey, full circle, man.
Yeah. So I want to thank you for having me on. Man.
No. I mean, we got about 5 more minutes.
That's it.
We're gonna use it though. I want you to talk about. I didn't really get to let you elaborate on Art Speaks.
Art Speaks is
how you got started and what
Art Speaks is was born out of my need to express myself through poetry. When I started about 6-7 years ago, I started navigating the scene here in Gainesville and around the surrounding area, and I noticed that there were the poets were all scattered. Poets are cliquish, just like everybody else. You got feminist poets that meet over here on Tuesday night in a secret place. You got black revolutionary poets that meet over there on Mondays at a secret place.
Mm-hmm.
You got white queer poets that meet somewhere. You got just all these different little groups of poets that meet, in different places and stuff. So I started navigating, and I met a few people who were really into the poetry scene. Who comes to mind right quick is David Moss and Jimmy Smith. Those two people really kind of helped me out navigating the poetry scene. And there's a jam that's the oldest in Gainesville. It's at the CMC. It's a Thursday night poetry jam. I think it's been going on maybe 25 years or 20 years, something like that.
I had no clue.
Yeah, it's on Thursday nights at the CMC every Thursday, and it's I think it starts around about 8 or 9. But it's the longest running poetry jam in Gainesville at the CMC.
Cool.
But basically, poetry they were all in cliques and fragments and stuff. So I thought it'd be cool to get everybody, all these different voices, under one roof for an evening.
That's what it's all about.
Poetry.
Right.
So that's how Art Speaks was born.
Cool. And what kind of works have y'all done? Because I know you guys are you guys try to make changes through your art, right? And
well, we just provide a platform for people to come out.
Awesome.
There are 2 events. We have 2 events. We have an adult event that's coming up in August 26th.
Okay.
And it's these Art Speaks is co-sponsored by the City of Gainesville Division of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs.
Nice.
So we have 2 events. The adult open event is normally in the fall. I try to schedule it in late August, early September, whatever. It depends on when the students get back here in UF, and right before football, because everybody gets crazy during football season.
Yes,
so
we do. Yes, I can't wait.
And the youth event is normally near the end of February, right before they get crazy with all their standardized testing.
That's hilarious. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother, we can talk an hour
but the
about
kids
that.
the kids are amazing.
Right.
The last one we did this year in February was right after the was it the Parkland shooting? We have so many shootings I can't keep up with them.
Right.
And we had some there were some amazing, powerful poems
Right.
about gun violence and school shootings and stuff. I mean, I'm talking about people were crying.
Wow.
These young people.
People.
I mean, this is their time for when they can express themselves and not be censored and basically say what it is they want to say. And they know they have that platform to do that, and nobody's going to tell them, oh, you can't say that.
Right.
This is the place they can express themselves at this Art Speaks event.
Cool, man. Cool. It sounds really awesome. I want to ask you one last thing. Which you got something you want to mention?
Oh, it's at the Thomas Center. Always at the Thomas Center.
Oh, okay,
Art
cool.
Speaks is at the Thomas Center.
Oh, okay, cool.
Always at the Thomas Center.
Right.
I can't give you the address. Google it. You'll find it.
Yeah. We'll find it.
But also, you wanted to ask me about my acting and stuff, and basically,
Oh yeah, you did that.
I got a play coming up. The last play I was in was the Royale.
Oh yeah,
At the Hip.
That was about the boxing, right?
Right. It was loosely based on Jack Johnson.
Right,
the character in this play was the play was loosely based on Jack Johnson. The lead in this play, his name was Jay Jackson, and I played his trainer. It was a wonderful, awesome play. Man, I didn't see it, of course, but I was in it. But I heard it was amazing.
I know you have an extensive history locally as an actor. I want you to talk a little bit about some of the productions that you've been in. Some of your fortunate triumphs, and just something we might have heard of you. And I know you did acting with my friend Amanda Edwards. She's a classmate.
Amanda's a girl.
Yeah, we graduated.
Yeah, Amanda's a girl.
Amanda.
The last thing Amanda and
she's been here.
Was Cat on the Hot Tin Roof.
Ah.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Color Purple.
She was Maggie the Cat.
Nice.
I played Big Daddy.
That's what's up.
Yeah, she was Maggie the Cat, and I think what else were we in together? I can't remember. But yeah, Amanda is a phenomenal actor.
Yeah,
I mean, she is. I remember the first time I saw her was on stage. She was Suge Avery, I think, in Color Purple.
Yeah,
I think I saw
remember.
that probably about six years ago. I think it was at PK Young. When my first time ever seeing her on stage, and I think I asked my wife, "Who is that?" But yeah, she's a wonderful actor.
Well, hey man.
Yeah, we have an upcoming play. Is Jesus Hopped the A Train.
Oh, okay. Cool. That's a throwback, right?
Yeah, I think it was first done in 2000. I mean, when you say throwback, I mean,
no.
Because my throwback may be different from your throwback.
I wasn't talking about the real Jesus, man. Not that far back.
No. But yeah, I think it was in 2000. It was first done in the year 2000. But it's based on. It's about it's a complicated kind of play, man. It's I think the people are really you're gonna either really love this or you're gonna hate it. One of the two.
It's gonna be where?
It's gonna be at the Actors Warehouse.
Cool.
It plays. It opens in July. I think maybe like the 13th, somewhere around there. I'm not sure, but it's at the Actors Warehouse. Actors Warehouse. If you want to know the season, Google it.
Yeah, maybe we can get you guys up here, get the whole cast up here, kind of talk a little bit about
but
it.
I'm playing. My character is Lucius Jenkins. I'm in prison and I'm waiting extradition back to Florida.
Oh, I've heard about this.
For death. For maybe death row. They're gonna. I'm not sure. I'm fighting extradition. But I'm a serial killer, pretty much.
Yeah.
I've killed a bunch of people.
Right.
and I'm born again now.
Was it you telling me about this?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
I've heard that. Well, hey.
Well, it's probably a lot of people out there that kill a bunch of people and they're born again now.
That's hilarious, man. I hope not, man. I certainly hope not.
You know.
Hey, I just want to thank you again for coming by, man. Thank you for all the work you've done and the difference you made in the community here. I definitely want to have you come back up here, man. It's crazy. I've never had an interview that I was not enough, man. We need more time.
I love Gainesville. Gainesville is awesome. The people here are awesome. I mean, the art here is awesome. I love Gainesville. I love working here and doing, just interacting with the different artists here.
No, you're good. Yeah. Okay.
So Gainesville is really, really nice. I love Gainesville, man.
Right.
I love it. I love it probably more than I love my own hometown.
Which is what, St. Pete?
No, Alachua.
Oh,
but that's another story. Alachua is a work in progress.
Right.
Y'all pray for us.
Okay. Well,
pray for us.
Shout out to Alachua, man.
We need prayer.
I played a lot of basketball out there. Well, hey, I just want to thank you again, man, for coming by, man. Did we anything we want to mention before we get up out of here?
I want everybody to support independent media like this station, and like we have a station out in High Springs, but independent media, local media is very, very, very important to your community. So please support support this station. Support this station because you have people on the radio who may not ever get on the radio, and may not. None of those other corporate stations invited me on to be on their radio station. Right. And then people like you said, Amanda was here before.
Oh yeah.
So that's important of having stations like this in the community to support community art, culture, and whatever else you want to support. But it's important. So we need folks in the community. If you want to hear our voices and hear our stories and support the station.
Right. Well, hey, thank you, man, for that. That was a pretty good plug. And like you mentioned, you guys are on the station out in High Springs.
High Springs, Alachua.
UBA.
WUBA, 88.1 FM, High Springs,
so cool.
Alachua.
So cool, man. So you know all about it, and I just want to appreciate you showing that recognition.
Are you going to have me back again, man? I didn't talk too much.
Nah, man.
I had some notes and stuff, but I didn't look at
Man.
it.
We'll get to that next time, I guess.
Okay. Cool.
I just appreciate you coming by, man. And again, like next time when you guys are doing anything else as far as acting, man, I'd love to have you guys back and see if we can bring the cast up here.
Can I get a shout out to Carol Velasquez Richardson, please?
Please do, man.
I want to give a shout out to beautiful Carol Velasquez Richardson, my lovely wife.
She's a beautiful soul, man.
Yes.
Awesome,
she is a darling. She's sweet.
Yeah, cool,
yes, she is.
Cool. She's a little mic shy today, I guess.
Huh?
Hey, she's shy from the mic.
She got another side to her.
I presume. I presume. But hey, man.
For me, she's from out east.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, nah. I had no clue.
Yeah.
What neighborhood? What we talking about? Lincoln State, Kennedy Homes, Sugar Hill, Lake Road.
She ain't from that far out east. She ain't from that far out east. 15th Street.
15th? Okay. That's all right. Hey, it's all right. It's all love, man. Hey, I'm going to y'all keep it locked right here, WBT 90.1 FM The Beat. Stanley Richardson in the building. Miss Carol Velasquez Richardson in the building as well. Hey, thank y'all for coming up, man. It's been a real treat.
Thank you.
I'm going to y'all keep it locked right here.
We love you, Gainesville.
Oh, man, that was good, man. You're the man. Let me get my music right.
We had lots of people watching.
I appreciate it. Yeah, you had a lot of shout outs going on. Let me turn this off.